Hello and welcome to Dan Talks United. Join me for episode 2 now, guys. As I was saying in my last video, I'm going to do a match reaction to the Manchester United versus Arsenal game. It's just finished, guys. Right then, guys. A bit disappointing. 1-0 loss versus Arsenal there. As a whole, I think we played pretty well. I do think we were the better side. I don't think we deserved to lose that game. To be fair, I think we even probably deserved to win that game. I don't think Arsenal were really in it. So I'm just going to go through the match and certain points of the match and then finish up on sort of overview of everything that's happened in today's game, first game of the season. So really good start to the game, really good tempo to the game. Wasn't really expecting that, although we were at home at Old Trafford, nice day. But however, you just don't know how the teams are going to turn up. Obviously, going back to my sort of predictions of the starting lineup in the episode 1, I think I was right in the sense of Mount was going to start, so I was a little bit disappointed by that because I was thinking that Mount's going to be playing as a number 9 or a false 9. It looked more like Cunha was a bit more further forward than Mount. Mbeumo was doing the same at times. There was a bit of interchange there anyway. I didn't think he was going to start Sesko, so I did think that Amorim was going to ruin that sort of Gyökeres versus Sesko thing. But yeah, like I say, good start to the game, good tempo. Lads seem to be up for it today. Decent possession in and around their box area, especially around the 3-minute mark. It was looking like we could have scored. Then gets to about the 4th minute, got a free kick in a dangerous position where Bruno could put the ball into the mixer, and it was just a flat and disappointing free kick. And again, as I was saying in the first episode, that these are the times where you want to put a good ball in, keep hold of the ball, keep possession. If we don't get a shot on target, then at least keep hold of the ball. But again, it was a transition moment for Arsenal. But later on in the game, I think I wasn't expecting it, but Mount played pretty well. It was a really lovely bit of play from Mount in the centre of the pitch where he'd put a ball through. I think it was for Mbeumo as he'd run through onto Arsenal's area. So really lovely through pass, splitting pass to be fair. Quite impressed, like I say, with Mount. He played some really good passes, kept the ball moving. That sort of cry from me for urgency, for that tempo increase, happened today, and Mount was pivotal to that. To be fair to Mount, like I say, started really well. He defended really well as well. So he was covering for our defenders at times as well, Mount. And then, unfortunately, around the 13-minute mark, it wasn't Onana, but it was Bayender. Now, Arsenal, we know what Arsenal like when it comes to set pieces and corners in particular. They are very good at them. It is something that they practice quite a lot. And to be fair, the ball comes in. I'm not saying it was a bad cross or anything like that, but I just think it was really tame from Bayender with that limp wrist of his. All he's done is just, I don't even know what I could say he's done. He's not palmed it, he's not caught it, he's just limp wristed it, and it's just gone into the back of the net. Again, as much as I wanted a midfielder, Baleba, for example, I do really think if we're only going to get one more signing before the transfer window shuts, that I think it's got to be a goalkeeper. Amorim's got to have looked at that today and thought, Onana's not great. Tom Heaton is solid, but 39. And then you've got Bayender, who, okay, he can be Mr. Heroic when it comes to penalties, but we need him to be saving shots in games. And that was more than savable for me today. And there is no excuse for that performance from Bayender. You could be fooled into thinking he had a good game after that because it finished 1-0. But to be honest, Arsenal didn't really have much of a threat. and he didn't have to lay a glove on anything, luckily for us. Again, some really lovely play throughout the half. There was actually sustained patterns of play here and there, sustained, like I say, pressure, sustained tempo to the game. So it was quite an enjoyable game to watch. Obviously, I was on edge because I'm watching my team, and especially when we've gone 1-0 behind, you're obviously thinking the worst. But if I was to give them any sort of credit, I would say they reacted to the going 1-0 down pretty well. Last season, it would have been heads down and out of the game. Still think that they could have just shown a little bit more urgency within the box, within Arsenal's box. But other than that, they got themselves up, dust themselves down, and continued. So from that front, that is a bit of progress. Again, nothing to get too carried away about because it's only the first game of the season. And I think as much as that was Arsenal, our biggest test is probably next weekend when we play Fulham, because with Fulham being one of the smaller sides, and we haven't done particularly that well against the smaller sides, that will be probably our biggest test so far. So as I say, finishing off on that first half, I thought, again, Cunha was playing really well. One of the things I said in the first video was that I want to see Cunha get on the ball. I want to see Cunha run at the opposition. He had a really sort of trademark Cunha run through the middle. Got a bit of luck, bit of a ricochet, but again, you deserve that luck when you're playing in that manner, and you're the one that wants that ball the most. It trickles through to him. He's through on goal, but I just think he just got a little bit gassed and couldn't really get a real shot off on goal. So it was a real shame. But yeah, in terms of that first half, other than the goal, I was pretty happy. Second half, again, seemed to start the second half in the same vein as the first half, really. Again, good tempo to it. Overall, I'd probably say the first half was better, but good start to the second half. Again, Mount was in and amongst it, had a decent opportunity with a half volley on target. But then later on, bit of a silly back heel from Casemiro. He's prone to these things sometimes, which he does them in really silly areas. And again, as I was saying in the first video, we give up that possession, and then Arsenal again we're on transition. They're on transition again against us. Then Ahmad gets subbed on pretty quickly into that second half, around the 54-minute mark. Looked promising. Sort of did what Dalot didn't do. So obviously Dalot was there to sort of give us a bit of security from a defensive point of view, but Ahmad came on and he was driving. I think the only criticism I would have had on Ahmad is that he was sort of making or in the space that Mbeumo should be in. So they did end up clashing in the area where I thought that Mbeumo had possibly had a bit of a chance to have a bit of a swipe on the ball towards goal. He just needs to sort of keep in his mind that he doesn't have to do it all the time, but he does need to keep the width. He does need to run around the sides and let Mbeumo sort of cut in for the shot inside the box. I think if they sort of sort that out, I think they should be fine. Like I say, it's just the first game of the season, so it was promising. It's just that's the only thing I could say from a criticism point of view. And then just before he goes off, the big man, the main man, Gyökeres, gets put through. I wouldn't say put through on goal, but he's put through into a decent space where he could have hurt us, and he's tripped over the ball. And then shortly after that, he was subbed off, so we didn't have to endure the pain of Gyökeres, who I would say was our number one target to play for us up front. Didn't manage to score against us. And then our own big man enters the field, Sesko. Not much to report on Sesko, if I'm honest. Didn't really get much of the ball. Probably had about 3 or 4 touches maximum. Didn't really get put into areas where he can be dangerous to use his height and what have you. Did manage to get a header, I believe it was on goal, but just didn't have enough power on the cross. We were pushing Arsenal towards the end there, trying to get that equaliser, that deserved equaliser, but it just wasn't to be. Arsenal sort of picked up their defensive abilities with their two monsters in the back, centre back, Gabriel and Saliba. Didn't think that it was great in the first half, to be honest. I thought that we gave them a lot of problems, especially Cunha and Mbeumo. I think there was a little bit worried about them too from their days of playing for Wolves and Brentford. However, second half, I think Arteta's obviously got into them and they've stepped up the game. So the chances of us equalising, it just didn't look like we were going to score, even if we played another 10, 15, 20 minutes. I don't think we we're going to score today. Probably their man of the match is probably David Raya. I think even what he was saying in his post-match interview was saying that there were times where he thought that they probably would have conceded or maybe even lost the game. So yeah, he played pretty well. Didn't have loads of he didn't have any difficult saves to make per se, but he was just competent. And obviously we just don't. Anything looks good to us as Manchester United fans because the two idiots that we have in net, yeah, anybody will be better than what we have. Right, to finish off, I just want to sort of answer my own questions in a way, the questions that I had before the match started. So, first question was, how did we play? And I think in summary, I felt that there were a lot of what I would believe is Amarin's principles was coming to the fore. I think there was, I wouldn't say patient build-up. I think there was a lot of speed in there. There was a lot of tempo in that build-up, and I think he was trying to be direct and catch Arsenal cold, to be honest. So you didn't see as much of that sort of rocking motion between the centre backs and sort of patient build-up between the centre backs before pushing through to the wide men. It was very direct, and I quite like to see that because it was quick. It meant that we were entertained. It was just like I say, just a shame that we didn't get a goal that we deserved. Next question is: has anything changed? Yeah, I'd say it's hard to say, obviously, because it's the first game. But I think again, it was reminding me of the first two games in the summer series, the games against West Ham and Bournemouth, where we did pen Arsenal in a bit. We did pressure them quite a bit. The pressing was decent. We weren't bad on the ball at times. Again, as I was saying before, we had our sloppy moments, and hence why, soon as we have those sloppy moments, Arsenal, like any other team at the top of the league, are good on transition. They were just running straight through the middle of our midfield. We know that our midfield is that polo mint effect. However, in terms of if anything's changed, I would say it's looking promising. Time will tell because we have to play like this now. I don't expect to play like this every single game, but we need to be playing like this most games now and be confident enough to take this method forward. And hopefully this hasn't knocked their confidence in terms of doing that. I think it worked today, other than that mistake from Bayender. I think the gameplay worked. I think we need to keep doing that. We will change it slightly depending on which team we're playing, but I do believe that we need to have these are like our basic principles that we need to be displaying going forward. Talking points. It's like I say, the talking points are unfortunately David Raya in their net, Bayanda in our net, Cunha and Mbeumo looking very good. It's looking like Amarin could be right about getting those two number 10s in, because that is quite an important component to his plan. Mount surprised me, played very well. Decently defensively, I think sometimes the back three almost getting each other's way a little bit. It's just them getting used to that back three system. But generally speaking, I think, yeah, looking okay. Now I've just got that section of the it's not original, but just the good, the bad, and the ugly. So just to really quickly go through the good again, as I was saying, Mount played really well. Great start. Lovely pass, as I said, in the first half through to Mbeumo. Was a threat, a constant threat, constantly pressuring Arsenal's back line. Cunha and Mbeumo, as I was saying earlier, they just need to settle down, but they were looking promising. Although you may say this is not a good thing, when we went down 1-0, I do feel that we responded pretty well, and we were just obviously disappointed when it went in, because there would have been a lot of hard work that was put in through the summer series and through training. To see that such a simple goal go in, it will be demoralising. However, I think they did brush themselves off pretty quickly, quicker than normal, and we reacted well. There was a refreshing change in terms of when our wide men, or our number 10s, are getting into good positions. I saw a lot of looking for a man in a better position than them, or looking at a lot of passing, a lot of crossing going on, a lot different to what we're used to, where we've got people like Garnacho or Rashford just constantly shooting on sight. And then going on to the bad. Although I've praised Mount, I've got to say that as much as Bayanda is the most at fault with the limp wrist scenario, I think looking back on the replay, okay, it may have been a bit of a mismatch, but I think Mount defending there just not strong enough, and I think should have swapped with somebody like De Ligt maybe. Agate coming on, running around like a headless chicken, doing very little, and then taking that absolutely stupid shot from far out when we've only got like 5 minutes left to play. There's 2-3 people in a better position. I don't know what that's about, but Amri needs to sort that out. The ugly, I've already mentioned it, guys. I'll leave it there. So just to finish this off, I'm just going to name my man of the match. Tricky one, actually, because as much as we've lost the game, I still feel we played well. I think there was a few players that had played well, and I've already mentioned that I felt Mount had played well. I think Cunha's played well. But I'm actually going to give it to De Ligt. And the reason for that is because I think De Ligt stood up to everything that came his way, generally speaking, defended really well, covered his teammates. I like when centre-back, especially in this formation, can push out and be a really good channel defender, and I think he just cut everything out. He put one on Saka, Timber. There was a few where he made sure it was his, and I like that. But who was close to that though, getting that man of the match? Again, Mount and Cunha, but I think De Ligt just pips them purely from just that defensive point of view and keeping that score down. So that is it for today, guys. As always, please like, please share, please subscribe, and I will see you in episode 3, guys.